to my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Times Unbreakable, episode 29, part 2 of Highway Star. After watching this episode, I can definitely see why a lot of people were looking forward to seeing Highway Star, because this arc was another great arc. So in this episode, Josuke was avoiding getting caught by Highway Star, the footprints, otherwise he'd get his nutrients sucked out, all the while trying to find the stand user in order to save Rohan. He calls up Koichi to find out his location, which we learn later on that the Highway Star stand user is named Yuuya Fungami. He's a motorcycle thug that got into an accident at the tunnel, which explained the stand's connection with the tunnel. Doesn't explain the illusion room though, and from what I've been told, that room is never brought up ever again. God fucking damn it, Araki. Anyway, after the accident, Yuuya was in critical condition, and he obtained a stand because of Yoshihiro. So ever since he got his stand, he's been using it to suck out nutrients from people in order to heal from his injuries. Which begs the question, were there other victims aside from Rohan that got their nutrients sucked out? Because the episode does imply that there were other people that got caught by Highway Star, but it was never really mentioned or reported before. Unless Rohan really is the first victim, but again, I'm not really sure. Although the thing is with Highway Star, even though Josuke was faster than the stand and had enough distance between himself and the stand to buy some time to call Koichi, for Highway Star is a stand, which means that it can appear and disappear. Which means that Josuke can't make any stops, otherwise the stand would appear closer to him. So Josuke had to borrow a cell phone to call Koichi, and Koichi's job is to find out the stand user's name and which room he's staying at the hospital. All the while, Josuke had to get to the hospital without getting caught by Highway Star, which, by the way, he really knows how to ride a motorcycle, even though he's 16 years old. Then again, I don't know the laws of Japan of how old you have to be in order to drive a car, let alone a motorcycle. Considering that back in Star Wars Crusaders, we saw Jotaro riding a motorcycle, and even Kakyoin knew how to drive a car, so yeah. Anyway, Josuke ended up at the pier, so he kept getting caught on these dead ends, otherwise he would go into the ocean. So he managed to find a tunnel to drive through that led to another route for him to drive. Unfortunately, the motorcycle was running out of gas. But that's no problem with Josuke, because he just crashes the motorcycle onto the nearby wall, sent flying towards the car, using Crazy Diamond to break an opening, going through the car, and then trapping Highway Star into the car, all the while fixing the motorcycle and the car, and refilling the motorcycle with gas from the car. Which is a very clever plan, courtesy of Josuke, and a very creative way to use Crazy Diamond. In fact, one of the things I liked about this episode is how Josuke uses Crazy Diamond, because he comes up with very creative, clever, and useful ways to use his stand, taking advantage of his nearby surroundings in order to evade Highway Star. It's one of the reasons why I like Josuke and like Crazy Diamond. I mean, he was using his stand to create walls from rubble that he destroyed from other walls to block Highway Star, and even destroying the motorcycle so that he can get across a baby carriage because he couldn't slow down or turn around or stop, and then repair the motorcycle before he reached the road. Which, by the way, was another really cool scene, because how the baby was looking at Josuke while he was up above the air, which got me thinking, what if this baby would end up like Josuke? You know how Josuke saw that random stranger and his pompadour, and you know how he helped him and his mom Tomoko and the flashback, which inspired him to gain that pompadour hairstyle. What if that baby in a few years gets that pompadour hairstyle because of what happens? But then again, it's a baby, so I don't know if he or she would remember that. But that would have been pretty funny and pretty cool if that were the case, you know? Anyway, after Josuke trapped Highway Star, we then cut to Koichi, who is dealing with this really bitchy nurse trying to figure out the name and the room of the Highway Star stand user. And she even goes as far as to diss Koichi's height. If there's anything I learned about anime, you do not diss a short person's height. Ever. Otherwise, you're gonna get it. And luckily, that's what Koichi does, as he uses Echo's Act 3 to use 3 freeze on these medicine bottles, giving the nurse a hard time, struggling to keep the medicine bottles up, otherwise they would crash. And Koichi was freaking badass in this scene. He was acting all nonchalant and even throwing back some of the insults that she said to him. And that was how he learned the name of the Highway Star stand user and the room he was staying. Good thing he got that info, because right when the nurse told him, Josuke then crashes into the hospital. Totally unexpected, but it was pretty funny. Josuke was really close to getting to the hospital room. Unfortunately, Highway Star used the vents to get to the same floor as Josuke, and he caught up to him. And Josuke was so close. All he had to do was just open the door, go inside, and beat the crap out of Yuuya. But no, Highway Star was too much for him. And this is where we get the reveal of Yuuya. I gotta say, his design is not bad, but he has a tattoo on his chin that has the initials of Highway Star with an actual star, which I thought was kind of strange. And he's surrounded by a bunch of fangirls. Keep in mind, Yuuya is a motorcycle thug, so he's part of a gang in some way. So these girls also have the Highway Star tattoo on their arm, so I guess they're Yuuya's groupies in a way. So Yuuya was using a stand to absorb more nutrients from Josuke, and his injuries seem to be healing up pretty nicely. In fact, from what we learned about Yuuya, he has a heightened sense of smell, and he can detect certain smells from a distance. From a rotting peach to a girl having her period. Yeah, that was just weird. Luckily, Josuke somehow managed to get up and got close to Yuuya by using the IV fluid to drink and regain some nutrients. I don't think that's how IVs work, but it's Jojo, better not question it in a way, so okay. But Yuuya brings up a good point. He's critically injured, and it's not cool to beat up an injured guy. There's no honor in that, and that's something Josuke agrees, which is why he used Crazy Diamond to heal Yuuya, and then beat the crap out of him. Leading to another awesome Crazy Diamond Dora breakdown. That's what I'm calling them now, breakdowns. And he beats up Yuuya so bad, no doubt making him even worse than he was before. But he sends him flying out the window, out of the hospital, and he crashes down into a nearby fountain. Good thing there was a fountain down there, because considering how high up Yuuya and Josuke were, chances are Yuuya would have died if he didn't land on that fountain, which that would have been really extreme in a way. So anyway, Josuke threatens Yuuya if he ever used his stand to suck up other people's nutrients again, he'd beat the crap out of him. Yuuya spares Rohan. Rohan's okay thanks to Crazy Diamond. And you'd think that, you know, he would say thank you to Josuke. No, in fact, he said that he would rather die than have Josuke save him. Yeah, these two are never gonna get along, are they? I guess he was still mad at him because of the whole house burning down thing, and the fact that he didn't listen to him, and the fact that he's an asshole to Josuke. But let's be real here, if it was Koichi that saved his life, then Rohan would be so grateful to him. In fact, if it was Joseph, then he'd also be grateful to him, which, by the way, I learned that the reason why Rohan was respectable towards Joseph was not just because he was an old man, but because he also was a fan of Pink Dark Boy, his manga. But that's not where the episode ends. The episode actually ends at the Kawajiri household, and we see Shinobu going into the basement, spotting this stray cat that got into the house. And yeah, that was pretty much it. A cat. But I'll get more into that later. But anyway, that was episode 29 of Unbreakable. Overall, this was another really good episode. I really liked it. And overall, the Highway Star arc, I can see why people were looking forward to seeing this. The motorcycle scene was really cool, and I'm really liking Crazy Diamond and how Josuke is using his stand, because he uses it in very clever ways. And I really like how his healing ability is used in combat. You can heal your opponent and beat the crap out of him, which in fact, I believe that is one of the specials you can use when you play as Josuke in Eyes of Heaven and All-Star Battle, which I always thought was a really cool way to beat up your opponent. Although some parts that kind of bugged me in this episode, like for example, Josuke stealing the cell phone. He technically ruins two people's lives. One guy who's getting a major business deal, and another guy who's trying to propose to his girlfriend. But that's not what bugged me. What bugged me is that when he stole the first phone, it broke. And considering that Crazy Diamond can fix objects, he could have used that to fix the first phone instead of stealing the second cell phone. Another scene that bugged me was when Josuke was trying to turn at a nearby corner. You can clearly see that his knee was touching the pavement. And considering how fast he was going, his knee should have been scraped, or at least his pants should have been roughed up, at least in the area where it was touching the pavement. But there was no scuff marks, no blood, or not even like a tear. As for Highway Star, I thought it was a very strange one, considering that it's a bunch of footprints that suck out your nutrients, all the while chasing after you just by following your scent. But it's actually a pretty cool stand and a pretty dangerous one. I mean, this stand will chase after you no matter what forever. Like, it's very difficult to deal with it. As for Yuuya, he kind of comes off as an egotistical asshole. The way he was like acting towards his girls. I don't know if we'll see Yuuya again, but if we do, I hope we'll get to see Highway Star more again, because I think Highway Star is a pretty cool stand. Although this could be the case with like Ken, the rock, paper, scissors guy, but again, I'm not sure. Although one thing's for sure, Yuuya is kind of an asshole. Then again, this series has a lot of assholes. As for Koichi, he was great in this episode. He was actually pretty badass in this one, especially dealing with the nurse, which, by the way, Act 3, I was not expecting what he was saying. He was like, okay, master, let's kill the whole beach. Oh my god, him saying that in English was freaking hilarious. I freaking love Act 3. Act 3, I think it's gotta be my favorite out of the 3 acts from Echoes. Yeah, there was a lot of neat dialogue courtesy of Act 3, but also from Josuke. Okay, right after he beat up Yuuya, he said, I feel refreshed. I feel like it's New Year's morning after I just put on a fresh pair of underwear. What the fuck? God damn it, Jojo, when it comes to Jojo, the dialogue, there is some pretty funny dialogue and some weird ones too, which is one of the things I like about Jojo. As for the breakdown, I thought that was awesome, but I feel like it would have been a lot better if we actually saw Crazy Diamond beating up Yuuya. Because we just see Crazy Diamond and then you just cut to the outside of the hospital where Yuuya just flies out. But that's just a minor nitpick I have. Otherwise, this was a really awesome one. Although, if I were to be honest here, my favorite breakdown of all time was the one with Rohan, because Josuke goes nuts in that scene, which is awesome. But anyway, that breakdown was awesome. We also get some cameos. The first one being Yoshihiro, which, by the way, I got pretty annoyed with Yoshihiro. I mean, I know he's like the new Enya, but Enya wasn't as annoying as Yoshihiro. And from what I found out, just like with Ken, Yuuya isn't even in cahoots with Yoshihiro. I mean, are we gonna get an enemy stand user who is an ally to Yoshihiro soon? Because, I don't know, it just feels like he's just creating all these stand users to distract the main group, you know? And the second cameo, by the way, we get from Jotaro because, well, we also need a reminder that he's there too, I guess. I don't know why he was there, but we gotta see Jotaro, so that's cool, I guess. And then we got the ending. It was actually a strange way to end the episode, but the reason why is that the next episode is called Cats Love Yoshikage Kira, which means we're gonna get another Kira-centric episode, which is great. The focus is not only gonna be on Kira, but also this cat, which makes me think that this cat is a stand user, which is awesome because another animal stand user. And when it comes to the stands of animal stand users, they always come off as cool, interesting, and threatening to some of the characters. I mean, a rat nearly killed Jotaro. Keep that in mind, a rat nearly killed Jotaro. So this cat, obviously this cat's gonna come off as a threat, probably to Kira. Not sure how though, but I did notice in the opening that Kosaku, aka Kira, was holding the cat. So does that mean that this cat will eventually become an ally to Kira? But if this cat really is gonna be Kira's ally, then that means that this cat is gonna be very useful in some way. So yeah, overall this episode was another really good one. I really liked this arc. The Highway Star stand was a neat stand. Yuuya was a fucking asshole. Josuke and Koichi were awesome. And the motorcycle chase scene was pretty cool. Voice acting once again was spot on. I can't believe I heard Yuki Kaji say, "Let's kill the whole beach" in English. which I thought was freaking hilarious. So kudos to Yuki Kaji on that. As for Yuuya and Highway Star, they're voiced by Kisho Taniyama, which I thought the voice was familiar, and I knew why. It was because that he voiced John from Attack on Titan. No wonder it sounded familiar, because that was John. He also voiced Kazeshini, Shuhei Zanpaku Toespirit from Bleach, Yuta from the Rao Gaiden and the second season of DD Hokuto no Ken, that anime parody to Fist of North Star, Tatsuya Himuro from the Kuroko no Basket anime series, Takahiro Takahashi from the Junjo Romantica anime series, yeah, a yaoi series, and he was Kitan Bakicha from Gurren Lagann. Music once again was spot on, especially Josuke's theme. It gets you hyped up for the eventual Crazy Diamond Dora breakdown on Yuuya, which is awesome. So, tell me guys, what did you think of this episode of Diamonds Unbreakable? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think of Highway Star and the stand user Yuuya Fungami? And what did you think about that Crazy Diamond Dora breakdown? I thought it was awesome. I really liked it. What did you think about the motorcycle chase scene and Koichi's use in this arc? Which, again, kudos to Koichi. Really loving this guy. And as for this cat that we saw in the end, it's clearly obvious it's a stand user. But what do you guys think might be its involvement in some way? Will it play a pivotal role in the main plot, or is this just another minion of the week like with Ken and the other stand users that we've gotten before? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to our videos, and be sure to check my Facebook fan page and Google+. So yeah, that was Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Diamonds Unbreakable, episode 29. I'm LunaSpawn27, and I'll see you guys next time on episode 30. Cats love Yoshikage Kira. Later.